just 28% of Americans, voters, think the country is going in the right direction, is on the right track. And I want you to put that into a historical perspective for you. Okay, what's the average percentage of the public that thinks that the country is on the right track when the incumbent party loses? It's 25%. That 25% looks an awful bit like that 28% up there. It doesn't look anything like this 42% doesn't look anything like this 28%. So the bottom line is, very few Americans think the country is on the right track at this particular point. It tracks much more with when the incumbent party loses than with it wins. In fact, I went back through history. There isn't a single time in which 28% of the American public thinks the country is going on the right track in which the incumbent party actually won. They always lose when just 28% of the country believes that the country is on the right track.
It is you are swimming upstream if you're trying to win in this environment. Also, President Biden, on the micro level, a lot of the coverage today is over something President Biden said. On the macro level, what kind of a weight is he on the Harris campaign?
Yeah, so, you know, Joe Biden isn't on the ballot, but he's certainly in the minds of Americans, right? So I went back and I looked, okay, was the successor of the same party when the president's net approval rating was negative at this point, which Joe Biden's most definitely is? He's 15 points underwater. Now, we don't know if Kamala Harris is going to succeed Joe Biden, but we know back in 2008, George W. Bush, his approval rating was down in the 20s. Did a Republican succeed George W. Bush? No. How about in 1968, Lyndon Baines Johnson? His net approval rating was negative. Did a Democrat succeed Lyndon Baines Johnson? No. How about in 52, Harry S. Truman? His approval rating was in the 20s, if not the upper teens. Did a Democrat succeed Harry S. Truman in 52? My memory, no. No, as Kate Baldwin says.
Dianu.
Dianu.
Separate.
Well
Close. Wrong time of the year.
Well played.
Dwight Eisenhower, a Republican, succeeded Harry S. Truman. So the bottom line is, for Kamala Harris to win, she'd have to break history, be a Democrat to succeed Joe Biden when Biden's approval rating is way underwater at this point.
Again, it could happen. It just doesn't in recent history for sure. Okay, registration numbers, Harry.
Yeah, Republicans have been registering voters in big, huge numbers. They have been gaining in party registration versus the Democrats in the swing states with party registration. We're talking Arizona. I think it's a 5-point. They've expanded their lead from 5 points from where it was back in 2020. How about Nevada? Big Republican registrations there. They like the early vote. How about North Carolina? Big Republican registration gains. How about Pennsylvania? We spoke about it before a few months ago. Big Republican party registration gains versus from where they were 4 years ago. So Republicans are putting more Republicans in the electorate. The Democratic number versus the Republican number has shrunk. And so the bottom line is, if Republicans win, come next week, Donald Trump comes next week, the signs all along will have been obvious. We would look at the right direction being very low, Joe Biden's approval rating being very low, and Republicans really registering numbers. You can't say you weren't warned.
Again, this is the data which supports the idea of a Trump victory. Tomorrow, viewers, you will get the other.
So welcome back, everybody. Welcome back, one and all. You're watching the Dr. Nasser Sheikh Show. I'm your host, Dr. Nasser. So why are we seeing CNN come out with this kind of a, basically a whack on the Kamala Harris campaign? I mean, it is, again, I've said it before and I'll continue saying it again. CNN is basically playing political Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Sometimes they're Dr. Jekyll, sometimes they're Mr. Hyde. Sometimes they're on the side of Kamala. And I think the reason why is, folks, is that they're playing both sides. It makes financial sense. It has people tuned in. One day you go on the seesaw and, you're up with the Republicans and Trump. And then you say, you know what, we got to counterbalance this thing because we just can't be driving away the Democrats and our other people that are watching us. Our base, and most of the base probably is left and Democratic. So you'll see them go on the other slide and they'll start propping up Kamala Harris. And they'll continue to keep Kamala Harris up there for a while. And then they'll try to tease the Republicans and the Trump supporters with stuff like this to come out. And basically it's a CYA. It's to cover their ass. So now what can happen is that after the Trump victory, they can point to it and say, yeah, we were saying it was really close, but look what happened. Now, look, we all had the signs. Harry said the signs were there. And that's exactly what they'll go there to pat their pat their shoulders and say, yeah, we called it. We were, we showed you at the very end that these were happening. That look at what the right track, wrong track did. Never occurred. Gallup poll showing that that's never ever happened. When your party lead identified with the party, it matches so close with the popular vote. They've shown all this on CNN. Harry Enten has done this thing. It's very well crafted, folks. Very well done. Very well scripted to keep Americans in tune. And I'm telling you what, do you really think that the networks, the legacy networks, want someone to be declared a winner by 9, 10, 11 o'clock on the day? Of course they don't. No, they don't. They don't want that. They want this to go on and on and on. They would love it for this thing to be started, to get into the point where we don't want that happening. We want to know who won that night. And we, as we said, make it too big to rig. And I really do think we are going to know early in the morning who is the president of the United States. And it's going to be Donald Trump. And that leads me into my next stuff here. I'm going to show you what's happening with Polymarket. Going to show you what my real clear polling averages has always been. I'll tell you again where I think the states are going to be, what the percentages wins are going to be, and then we'll give you an idea of what's happening in the political sphere in terms of both camps out there, folks. You're not going to want to miss this. So let's go right now to Polymarket and take a look and see what are the betting odds in terms of the presidency of the United States. We'll take cut number 7. Well, I know it's tough to see here, folks, but as you can tell, this is the 30th of October. That's right, folks. Oh, it's been a long day, 30th of October. And as of today, it's showing Donald Trump 64%, 63.9, to Kamala Harris of 36.2. That's what's going on. That's where you can see it right there, folks. As you can see, what happened back on October 5th? He just literally took off. And this was going to be there. We've been saying this all along. I have never bought into the notion that Kamala Harris was up in the polls. They were push polls, folks. They were what I call the M&M polls. Movement and money. Get the polls out there, make some money, get the donors. They're seeing the polls, and then the movement to set the narrative that Kamala Harris is just unbelievable, the honeymoon period, all that stuff, all the fake polls that came out after the debate, which they all said that she won. You have those hack pollsters out there like Frank Luntz, still claiming worst debate ever in the history. But when you look at all of the after, if you take a look at what happened after the debate, and you saw some of those voter groups that were in those dial, groups where you're moving a dial left or right or moving it up or down, depending upon whether you like it or not. They were showing independents clearly were breaking nearly 100%. They were intertwined with the dials, with Republicans. When it was talking about Trump and when they were talking about Harris and they were showing pieces of her debate, they were moving with the Republicans, but in the downward direction. They didn't like what they were hearing. So Trump did not lose the debate. He might have lost the debate with people like, Frank Luntz and the elitists and the establishment and the lamestream and their legacy media, because that's what they wanted to fit the narrative. But all these polls, why do you think all of a sudden now, even those polls that are left-leaning, like Quinnipiac, that have never been very good to Donald Trump or the Republicans, all of a sudden they're coming back to within, they're showing him in the lead. New York Times showing in the lead, Marist, these other ones, because they don't want to be left out in the field, folks. That's what they do. They show the polls out there before, so the aggregate looks good for Harris, but they can always bring it back in and fake the numbers to come back to say, hey, we were close. It was back then, but as we were polling, the numbers change. It's such a game, folks. It's such a game. It's like the shell game, moving back and forth. Anyway, so you see 64 to 36. The betting odds, obviously, right now in Polymarket with Donald Trump. Let's take a look at my RCP average in terms of what I'm looking at in terms of the final vote, the Electoral College tally. Let's go to that right now. Well, as you can see here, folks, hasn't changed. 345 for Trump, 193 for Walz. I've got no toss-ups here right now. I'm doing it based on solely on the fact I've looked at all these polls, looked at the crosstabs. I've been talking about this now for months. For months. Check out our video links. You'll see this thing here as well. How did I come to 345? Well, I've always assumed, my assumption was that Trump was always up somewhere between 3 to 4 points nationally, but they were suppressing that in these suppression polls. They just weren't giving it to him. I've always believed that he was up more than 50% in the popular vote, approaching 51%. So what I did is, after looking at all the data that was out there and looking at tons of polls, especially the ones from Rasmussen, especially Insider Advantage, Atlas Intel, Big Data, the People's Pundit with Rich Barris, On Point Politics, Red Eagle Politics, Gold Crown Politics, so many where you just look at them. I think I said Rasmussen, and also the others, Quinnipiac, Morning Compost, CBS, ABC, CNN, Fox, all of them, looking at the different data points within those. And my assumption was that Trump was never down, that he was always at the 3 to 4 point level. And if that was him nationally, then I also had him up in the swing states as well. And he's always underperformed, not only nationally, but in the swing states from anywhere from 4 to 7 points. So my assumption is, my political assumption, my political calculus is that let's say that I don't give him the 4, I don't go as high as the 7, but I basically try to be, as let's say low expectations as possible. And I say, okay, I don't give Trump the 4-point underperformance. I only give him that the polls have underperformed him in 2024 by only 2 points. So whatever the polls are, I'm going to give him 2 points. That means my national average of what he was at before, 3 to 4, has now gone up 5 to 6. And if he's up nationally 5 to 6 points, with all the other data points there, identification of party, right track, wrong track, on the economy, on immigration, on the border, on safety and security, on I'm just saying, on foreign policy, domestic, on no taxes on tips, you can, take the interest payments off in terms of your car payments, all of the things that he's talked about, tariffs, being strong on China, even to the point of basically saying that he'll do something in terms of the, with Israel and end the, the genocide and get Israel to back down, all those things, and all the groups that are moving, everything that's happening with them, male blacks are coming to Trump. Hispanics are in record numbers, gravitating to him. Latinos, the same thing. Arab Americans, Muslim Americans, even black women are showing that they're may touch double digits. Might be 10 to 11% of black women that are voting for Trump. 25% of black men under the age of 50, 1 out of 4 are going for Trump. All of these numbers out there. Miami-Dade is flipped red in Florida. Registrations through the roof, as you just saw with Harry Enton on the CNN map there. And every registrations through the roof for Republicans, closing that gap, in some places erasing that gap. So this is why I came up with this. So if he's 5 to 6 points up nationally, that's a trend, folks. That's a wave. That's a tsunami. That's going to affect other places. So I've got Nevada. I think he's going to be, 4 to 5 points in Nevada. I think he's going to be more than 5 points in Arizona. New Mexico, that's going to be probably a 1 to 3 point win. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes into 4 to 5, but at least 1 to 4. I've got Minnesota. I think Minnesota is going to be in that, let's just say 1 to 3 points for Minnesota. Wisconsin, I think it's going to be over 5 points, folks. Michigan, 3 to 5. Would I be surprised if it tops 5 and it's in the 6s or 7s? I would not. Pennsylvania, I think that's going to be an absolute political bloodbath there. It's going to be over 5 points. I think finally it's probably going to be around 6 to 7 points in Pennsylvania. North Carolina is going to win this easily. I have between 5 to 7 points in North Carolina. New Hampshire, I think that's a victory between 1 to 3 points. Nebraska too. You know what? It's going to be close. Less than a point. Again, if that wave is there, it's going to happen. Talk about Georgia, in the bank. That's how we're coming up with these numbers. I think I said New Hampshire, 1 to 3 points. He's going to New Hampshire, folks. The polls are showing that. Virginia, I forgot about Virginia. I think that's going to be 1 to 3. Close. But if the dominoes fall and we get that huge wave, as we expect, the Republicans just absolutely, they're overperforming in registrations. They're overperforming in the mail-in ballots now. They're overperforming in the in-person, voting. Why would you not think that they would not overperform? I mean, unbelievably on Election Day, when they have always overperformed on Election Day and come in those red waves. And I know people say, well, in 2022, it didn't happen. Trump wasn't on the ballot. There's just a completely unique difference of Trump on the ballot and the people just coming out from low propensity voters and those voters that have voted 0 out of 4 or 1 out of 4 elections. They are breaking for Trump. Independents are breaking for Trump. And when you have every demographic out there that is breaking in his direction and the polling is coming out there, what else do you make out of the numbers that are out there? And that's how we come up to 345 to 193. Anyways, folks, let's take a look at what's happening out there in the political sphere, latest data that's going on there, and stuff that's happening on both sides. On both sides of the campaign. And I'm telling you what, folks, Trump, he went to Wisconsin today, folks, and he went there in a garbage truck. He arrived in a garbage truck, folks. This guy is the greatest political strategist ever in the history of in politics, period. I would say in world politics, American politics. He's an absolute strategic, brilliant genius, folks. I mean, to hammer home the point, to hammer it home in such a way, Biden said it. And they're talking about apostrophes and commas and, it's conjunction, junction. What's your function? I don't know, but the Biden's going down now. Conjunction, junction. I mean, we don't need a freaking English lesson, but can you believe it? I mean, the mental gymnastics it's taking? That they actually have people coming on CNN, MSDNC, NBC, ABC, CBS, whatever. I mean, they're getting English professors, English teachers. When are they coming on there to say, oh, there was a comma there, or there was an apostrophe, or there was a semicolon? I mean, these people just really take us for a bunch of idiots. They think we're morons. They think we're stupid. They think we're retarded. Seriously. That's how they're going to do it. That's the mental gymnastics that they're playing. That we're going to think about, go, you know what? Yeah, Biden said that, but gosh darn it. There was an apostrophe there, Frank. Hiccup, hiccup, hiccup. Pull my suspenders and let them hit back onto my chest. I got to go out there and grab me a stalk of grass and put it between my lips and chew on it, man. Give me some of that tobacco in a pail so I can spit in it. Pooh! Them commas, I knew them. So I knew I had to learn my English in school, not understanding what was a comma and a period and an exclamation mark and an apostrophe. I mean, gosh darn it. Our president, he didn't say that because there was a comma and apostrophe after that sentence. Huh. Blimey, cotton picking, I didn't understand till they told me that he didn't say that because there was a comma and an apostrophe there. I mean, these guys are freaking absolute nuts. So he says it. You see it on a video. But to bring it home, folks, to bring it absolutely home, what? Trump takes it to another level and comes to a rally in Wisconsin in a garbage truck. Amazing, folks, amazing. Anyways, let's take a look and see what's happening in the political sphere. Let's do that right now. So here you see, folks, Republicans drastically improved their position in Pennsylvania early voting, expanding our leads, folks, in Nevada, Arizona, North Carolina. And guess what? GOP turnout is more favorable in Wisconsin and Georgia. That according to Eric Daugherty. Check him out at, you can see his Substack there is Eric Daugherty at substack.com and at Eric L. D-A-U-G-H, Eric L. Daw. Well, guess what's happening? Florida. It's a trend. Talking about the rural and GOP turnouts through the roof in the swing states. Democrats are lagging. And I've said this before, it doesn't stay isolated. 5 counties in Florida have already exceeded their early vote tallies from 2020. Another vote by mail plus in-person early voting. I mean, Calhoun, they're at 106% of their 2020 EVs. Flagler is up more than 100% again. Yeah, tell the men you know to vote and vote now. Oh, this is something here, folks. Joe Biden, what the hell is he doing? What the hell is he doing? I mean, I guess he's greeting people. I don't know what the heck he's doing here. I mean, he used to sniff girls in people's hair and touch them in inappropriate places when they used to take pictures or whatever. Now he's biting kids' feet. Amazing. Amazing. Here's something. Update. Day 10. Republicans are up, let's say 12%. Dems. So far, it's early voting is 45% for Republicans, 33% for Democrats statewide. Republicans are R plus 13, folks. They're R plus 13 from 2020's final early voting. Total votes, a little over 6 million. Statewide, R plus 13. I think he's going to win Florida by over 15. Could he touch 17 points? Could this be a 15 to 17 point? I've got him at 13 to 15. I would not be shocked if he goes over 15 points, folks. Incredible. Atlas Intel, back in the field. They were the #1 pollster in 2020 and 2024. And they do around the world. I think they're located in Brazil, folks. They have no skin in this game. They do polling for all kinds of things, political, non-political, all around the world. And they said that, they say the early voting is so good for GOP. They said they're puzzled that they found slight Harris lead there. But it says that we'll be releasing a new set of results this Saturday, so I'll have the opportunity to look at the issue, but I confess he's a little puzzled by that. Pennsylvania Democrats are suing Erie County over 20,000 mail-in ballots allegedly missing. Man, in Pennsylvania, they're so freaking corrupt over there. They're so freaking corrupt. It's unbelievable. And this is so true, folks. Kamala delivered her landmark, the closing argument speech in front of the White House. Thousands of people there yesterday, right? And guess what? She can't win a news cycle, folks. When's the last time that you heard that Kamala had a win? I think the win was what? That when the comedian made the garbage joke about Puerto Rico, that's the win that she's had in the last 3 weeks? That's a political win that she's had? And how long did that last? Like all of 5 seconds? And Joe Biden, I think he did it on purpose, folks. I mean, I know he's gone, but I don't think he's that gone. I think he hates the fact that they pushed him out. I would. I'd be pissed off as hell, especially now seeing what's going on. I'm saying, thank God they pushed him out. Serves him right. So he makes a comment that Trump supporters are garbage, and then Trump drives it home. Master, brilliant political strategist. Because you can hear it. You can say it. You can talk about all the apostrophes and commas and semicolons and exclamation points and period. All your conjunction, junction, what's your function? You can do all of that. You can bring all kinds of PhD linguists, English teachers, English professors, trying to gaslight everybody into saying that there was an apostrophe and a comma there by supporters, so it meant something else. We're not retards. No, we're not. You think we are. And so instead of just hearing him say it, Trump decides to say, you know what? Let's just put that onto steroids. And man, the master strategist, the master political genius, I think he needs he needs trucks of garbage and literally have garbage trucks with garbage in it. And then have people throwing that garbage like out onto the tarmac or out onto the field or someplace and basically drive that home, drive that point even further, folks. Not just one garbage truck, a whole line of them now. Everywhere you go, every state, bring those garbage trucks. I think all the garbage truck people that have garbage trucks, they should have a freaking rally. Garbage trucks for America. Flood the highways with garbage trucks. Just like they have these rallies, bikers are going there, boaters are going in the waterways. Truckers are coming there, man. All these garbage truck guys, if you're off, hey, head on down to every rally that Trump's at. Full of garbage. And in those blue states, yeah, just drop that garbage off someplace, man. Yeah, and you know what? Just haul it away there and drop it off. I mean, those blue states, they're pretty dirty and disgusting. Pretty much, right? So, let's see here. What did we do? So here's Trump telling the story of how he decided to wear his garbage uniform for the rally. So let's hear this.
And I say, where's my jacket? I want to get out of this thing. And they said, it would be unbelievable if you could wear it on stage. I said, and I said, no way. I got 25,000 people standing outside. I got all these people here. There's no way I'm wearing it on stage. They said, oh, okay, sir. I said, get me my jacket. But if you did, you know, it actually makes you look thinner. I said, and they got me. I said, I want to wear it on stage. When they said I look thinner, I said, in that case, I'll wear it on stage.
Now, I just ask you, folks, could Kamala Harris do something like that? Never in a million years. Tim Walz, never in a million years. Never. That's why he's so great. He's closing. Energizer Bunny. Folks, he's going to Virginia, he's going to New Mexico, he's going to New Hampshire, I believe. He's expanding the electoral map. Plus, he's hitting all the swing states as well. Kamala Harris doesn't know what's going to hit her, folks. This is going to be an absolute political bloodbath. A red tsunami. It just doesn't seem like there's anything else that's going to change the course, the direction of where this thing is going. This has never been a close race. That's all you've seen from the legacy media. They want to paint that picture of it being close. That's what they're doing. That's the picture they're painting. And that way they can basically do what? Either way it goes. Either way it goes, that's what's going to happen. All right? And that way they can basically say, yeah, it was close. But in the end, you know what? The polls showed us, and oh my goodness, here's what happened. He was up with this group, up with that group, right track, wrong track. All the numbers were there. We just sort of didn't see it. But you know what? We did call it close. Oh, and then they'll say the Biden thing was the one that put it over the top. They'll do something to cover their ass, save their ass. They always do. They always find a way. But it doesn't matter. As long as we get 270, who gives a crap, right? And that's why I think people say, well, what if you're wrong? What if you're... Listen, I was one of the few people that predicted in 2016. There's probably 4 or 5 people in the entire United States that thought that he was going to win. I've got a document on my Facebook page. I said he was going to win 322. He ended up with 306. Did I care? Of course not. But I'm putting myself out there. Why play it safe? I know we've got the 270. I really think those things, I'm not just, I really think with the movement, with the polling data, with the percentages, where he's at nationally, where I think he's at in the swing states, if these other push polls weren't out there, it's a tsunami, all the things going together, which make me think that the story is not going to be the swing states. It's going to be how close did these 4 or 5 other things, other states, hang in the balance. Whether he wins them or not is going to determine a huge amount on that huge turnout on election day. But if what we're seeing right now in the pre-election phases, early voting, mail-in voting, in-person voting, registrations through the roof, rural areas outperforming over 100% of what they did in 2020, I think that tsunami, that trend is enough. And with the closest of those states, New Mexico to Nevada and Arizona, Wisconsin and Minnesota, Iowa, the trend from there, Michigan with the Arab American, the Muslim American vote going against, and Jill Stein. I haven't even talked about Jill Stein and third-party candidates and what they've done, what they did in 2016, what they're going to do. I think they're going to overperform. I think Jill Stein's going to, the numbers for Jill Stein, they're saying are like 1-2%. Folks, I would not be surprised or shocked if they get above 5%. That would not shock me at all. Where they're going to end up probably 2 to 3%, I would say, just based on looking at some of the data. Anyways, we appreciate you taking the time to watch. Hope you appreciated our video here and our content. And if you like it, we'd certainly hope that we've earned a subscription, a like, share, and a follow from you. Take a look at our other content. You'll see the other 4 videos in front of you there. Take your pick. They're all great. Share your comments below. Let me know what you think. Where are you at in your electoral vote totals? Where are you at percentage-wise? Share with us. Let us know. My final thought, as always, you know what it is. When you're right, you're right. And when you're left, you're wrong. Until next time, folks, take care and stay safe.